As the years went by, more and more people went from living everyday lives to that of one behind a computer. People no longer lived in the real world, but only in the virtual. As people never left their houses, let alone their computers, everyday life as we know it became obsolete and people no longer had to move. To fuel this non-action life that our country shifted into, a two-class system, one that fueled and took care of the other by providing fuel, food, and industry. This subclass lived in hatred of the upper class, which they lived to serve. The Smith family, who belonged to the subclass, had worked their entire life to try and get their son into the very world they fueled. In the late summer, the Smith family had finally earned enough to get their son Jack linked into the system. He would finally join the very people whom he had only dreamed of before. On the fateful day when Jack would be linked into the computer for the first time, he said goodbye to his parents forever and entered a world he would never return from. For the first couple days, Jack was excited about all these new experiences and the wonder of it all. But after a while, Jack started to miss his family, which was expected. But he also started to crave the true human interaction. This projection of a life was not real enough for him. He craved the true touch, taste, feel of life that only comes from actually living in it. So Jack set out to find someone in which he, like himself, craved true human interaction. He was on a mission. He asked everyone he knew and everyone he saw, trying to send out his message to the people. But he being the only person to rise from the subclass, he was the only one to have ever been in a true human scenario. He was now on a mission to convince people of the true human reaction and its importance. The few friends he had gained in his short time in the virtual world were not easily convinced, but once he did, he had a team who together would fight to the end. Now with his team on the other side and now experiencing true human interaction, he was ready to fight the man, and so were they. He was now strong enough to break through the stronghold of the virtual world. The struggle to break into the stronghold was difficult, but made easier by the quality of their conviction. Once they had broken through, they were now presented with the task of unplugging the system which had trapped everyone in a life not equipped to provide people with true human needs. The very boy who had waited his whole life to get into the virtual world was the very one to destroy it. Now, grandson, I was one of those boys, and it is your turn to keep this story alive, because if it dies, we risk the same thing happens again.